they had gone away.
They'd gone overseas.
Anyway,
The way it worked out.
yeah, we came. It was in '94.
Yeah. But now let me just say, when we went back up to Krugersdorp, we were now unsettled. We felt our time at Krugersdorp was over.
Okay.
So then I was persuaded, when we were down here in the church house, I marched through that church and I put all my furniture in place. I prayed and everything. We go back up there. Now I'm fully persuaded that PE is for us.
Okay.
And so I start a bit of packing, things that you never use, maybe only at Christmas time or what. But I didn't put them in boxes, I put them in the cupboard, but they were packed. And I put a little notice, see you in PE.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
And also...
So much faith.
Yeah, that was fully persuaded. And we were told we were coming, and then they said, no. And I remembered what Kerry Southey had prophesied over me. She said, Aleen, I see you with a machete. That's right. I see you with a machete. And she says, you're going through the jungle and you're cutting a path with the machete. That's all she said to me. Then I thought to myself in Krugersdorp, right, I'll get a machete. So I got Terry's knobkerrie. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, I am cutting away with my machete. And I'm telling the Lord, and I'm speaking in tongues, and I'm going on. And that happened 3 mornings. On the 3rd morning, I said to Terry when he got up, I said, we're going to PE.
And the same day...
That same day when I saw the path open, all the growth and all the jungle, I just went like that, and path opened.
Look at
And that's when I said to him, we're going to PE.
And I think it was the same day.
5 o'clock at night.
John phoned, said, you're on the way to PE.
And I said to him, tell him I'm already packed.
Wow.
And so we came. And
we've been happy.
it was very different. It was...
4 black people in the church when we came.
That's all. Now there's 3 Europeans.
There were only 4.
Yeah.
Yes. And gradually, of course, at the end of 1994, it had changed the country.
The country changed. And
slowly, African people, but mostly Botswana and Ghana.
Yeah.
And they came, and we just welcomed them. But gradually, the Europeans
were leaving.
Yeah, and we practically begged some of them to stay.
Because, I mean...
Yeah, but no, they said, this is going to be the second Hillbrow, we're going to move our church. So they did. But as the Africans started coming in and all this, there was such a vibrancy, such a liberty. There was one guy, Ebenezer.
Yeah.
He really taught us how to pray. Boy, pray now. And he'd get the tambourine, and he'd be doing it, he'd be marching around that church. And that tambourine disappeared. Never to this day have we been able to find it.
Probably some European.
Somebody didn't like it, so they...
probably took it away, probably just took it in.
Yeah, but he really taught us how to pray, how to intercede.
Yeah.
And Boniface was the other one on the drum.
And gradually, the Corsa and so on, coming in, and we always made them welcome.
Yeah, you did.
And at that time,
boy, you did.
At that time, we were getting prostitutes and drug sellers, the seller of drugs. And there's one little prostitute by the name of Vanessa.
Yeah.
And she really did try to give up the prostitution. She'd go down to the harbour 6 o'clock in the morning to try and get work. Anyway, she slipped back. But a little while later, she came back, didn't she? And she cried and she said, she put her arms around her, she said, "You're my parents. You're my parents. I have got family. You're my family." Because I don't think she had family.
Yeah,
And I'll make you laugh now. We went to visit.
I'm going to tell you.
We went to visit these ladies. And anyway, they welcomed us, but the room like this was partitioned off with a curtain.
Okay.
And so we sat here, but we didn't realise what was going on behind the curtain.
Oh my goodness.
And in the bathroom, the man and the woman came out of the bathroom, and I think that's when the penny dropped with us.
Oh gosh.
But they, each and every one of them, gave their hearts to the Lord. But unfortunately,
Then carry
they
on.
never went on. And there was a prophecy given at the church, and I gave the prophecy, and I really struggled with it. And I really asked the Lord, is it, right? And as it started out, it said, the rubbish of the world are going to come into this church. And they're going to come as waves, just like the waves of the sea brings the rubbish, recedes. And he said, that's how the people are going to come into this church. And that was before the prostitutes and before the drug lords.
Yeah.
So that was partly what it was all about. But we really loved those girls, didn't we? We really did. And we tried always to try and get accommodation where they would be away from.
Okay.
But
And
it
then
didn't work out.
when the African people, our income went down. And so I said to our treasurer, we will not take a
Salary,
salary.
performance.
Just, if you can just pay the petrol. And that was 4
months.
4 months. And people started to come.
Yeah.
And then the treasurer said to us, I can give you your salaries now. And everything that I'd lost,
In that 4 months.
he paid it back.
Over a period
Gradually
of time.
over a period.
Was paid back.
But it was 4 months. And
4 months without pay.
I received
We got what do you get from the tax?
about 10,000 men. And in those days,
That was a lot.
that was okay.
That's what kept us going.
That was the end of my 4 months.
4 months.
And
The
then,
Lord looked after us all along.
so then we just carried on, and I was teaching, which I've done ever since. When I first went in the ministry, by the way, in Winkel, I said to Aleen, what am I? A prophet? Am I evangelist? Or what am I? Within a few months, they would call me a teacher. And,
Teacher of the word.
and I've never been happier than that. Even now, I can't do everything that I used to, but I still,
The desire's there.
I want to preach again or teach again. And I probably will with
But
Linda.
you have to admit that with Linda and Hendrik, done a good job.
Yeah, they
And those two into the church. They didn't know much at all. And I think Hendrik, he was the first one, and then he met
Linda, and he brought Linda.
And Hendrik has said often, he said, when he first heard me, he didn't understand what I was saying. Well, so I didn't, he's Zulu either.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
and then gradually, when we got to the point where I wanted to get my 40 years in the ministry. And we had an agreement with Donovan,
yeah.
that I would do another year, and at the age of 80, I would retire, and Linda. And he was well ready.
Oh, yes, he was doing such a lot.
He did. I used to give him this job, that job. He
did everything. Did everything. Never complained.
No.
Yeah. No, it's such a blessing. And do you remember his son, Letu?
Yes, I know Letu.
When Letu was down
Letu was this, when I came to PE, Letu was in Sunday school, was like a boy, probably like 6, 7, 8-ish. Now I'm shocked that he's already a practicing doctor.
Yeah. Yes. Do you know that he was about 3, and he gave me the name of Mama Aleen. And he followed me all over, and I've got such happy memories of him. Really, I love that boy. And he turned out such a great boy. He really, we were close when he was small, because we didn't see our family and our grandkids for 3 or 4 years.
No.
There was some family business, and he just filled that gap. And when he saw me running, put his arms around me, he asked me, he said, "Are you my granny?"
Oh, man.
I said, "I'm your adopted granny.
Yeah.
You've got your granny in Durban." I said, "But I am your..."
But wow.
No, he's been such a blessing to me, that child. Yeah. I can't find the words to say.
How did you balance the... When you came at Cornerstone back then, it was like predominantly like European people and like 4 African people. Then when after 1994, majority of the European people, they started like moving out, and then more African people were coming into the church. How did you balance that? Like trying to balance people from different backgrounds, different races.
We had a lot to learn. We made a few mistakes.
Culture is like quite... mostly having so much impact in our lives. When we come to salvation, our culture also comes with us. So how did you balance that out? Because when I came to Cornerstone, I actually was shocked that it was like predominantly European. I just thought it was just like that, because I saw how balanced it was. It didn't look to me like it was
that there was
European. Yes. I just felt like, how did these people do this? Like, how did this happen?
I think it's of the Lord, of both of us, but we always
loved them. We loved them.
Love was the key.
Welcome.
Didn't
And
treat them any different.
even today, if I go in tomorrow, I will go and say hello to some people. I usually I don't do so much anymore, but I used to go to people and say, "How are you? How is your family?" Some things, that they just...
And they opened their hearts to us as well.
Yeah.
And Linda and Hendrik, they had to explain certain things to you.
They have. Yeah.
Yeah, because
if I said something which was perhaps not...
The relationship was a big thing. You say we've got a relationship. Well, to us, a relationship is like friendship.
Okay.
But they said it can be a sexual relationship.
Yeah, that's true.
See, I remember once I was, somehow I spoke speaking about an owl.
An owl.
One guy, I know his name too, he was upset. Now, I didn't realise that a lot of African people don't like
the owl.
owls.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know that. So somebody had, like, and they would explain to me.
Yeah.
And they would also go apologise for me.
Oh, man.
But then when we eventually went to retiring, they gave us an amazing gift.
Oh,
did you come to the retirement?
no, I was already in Durban at that time. I couldn't come, but I saw the clips of
People
on
from
Facebook.
all over
Yes.
came.
Yeah. Oh, and people from
Australia.
Australia.
Do you remember Kumi?
And from Zambia.
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah.
Chikumbi.
Yeah,
Mama Chikumbi, I've seen when I was in Zambia in 2015. I went to Zambia 2015. I met Mama Chikumbi there.
Oh.
And she was very excited. She was very excited. She came to visit in the hotel that I was in. She took me out because we met in Cornerstone. She was a guest speaker in Cornerstone.
She did come and minister in Cornerstone.
Yeah, she was teaching. Sorry, she was being lectured.
In UPE.
And she used to come to the church.
Yes.
But she had a ministry, so I used to give them option.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I've always done that, by the way. The way I learned from Nigel.
Okay.
Don't try and do everything yourself. And get a different name or emphasis.
Yeah.
And he also does the same. But what we did, when I retired, I said to Linda, I will not come to any leadership meeting unless you ask me to come.
Sure.
Because you cannot change the ministry and then try to
You cannot leave the ministry and then try
to lead.
Now, at first, Linda would often
look
ask
for
me,
sort of approval,
but gradually, as he grown,
he's found his
feet in it.
So every now and then he'll say, "What do you think about this?" Or, and I always do that. And we also said, whatever happens, we will finish in the cornerstone. So
we can't fit in anywhere else.
21 years in
Cornerstone.
plus another 8. Yeah, it's on the 8.
We'll be 88 this year.
29 this year.
29 years we've been here. In PE.
Yeah.
But you see what Summer and Linda are a team.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Just like we were a team, but they are different because Summer's got her singing.
Okay.
She's got a one-on-one ministry.
Yeah.
And they've been able to balance
them.
They do very well. And now Fundi, Hendrik's wife,
yes,
very quiet.
Yeah.
Very well. I said to Hendrik a couple of times, I said, I don't know what it is, but you must have done something right that you've got such a lovely wife. Because she's a beauty. And,
very humble people.
Yeah, and she's grown, she's come a long way. Yeah, she's a warmer. They do the outreach at Warmer.
Yes. I know there's a branch at Warmer. I've been there once.
She takes the Sunday school there, and now the school at the church, Pyongyang, I think it's called.
Pyongyang.
Yeah, they've opened or they're taking it from small.
From about 2 to 5 or 6.
Yeah, 2 till they go to primary school.
Wow.
Yeah, and they've taken that house, bought it, done it out. They showed a video on Sunday of how it is, the children all on the apparatus. It's really that's a vision that Linda had, and he's done it.
What are some of the challenges that within the ministry you've experienced? Like literally now in Cornerstone, what are some of the things that you'll be like, yeah, this was hard? And how did you manage to overcome the challenges? Just in the ministry.
I think the ministering to those prostitutes was a big challenge. Mm. I had a very sheltered upbringing.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have a home that was, you would say it was dysfunctional, really.
Yeah.
But my dad was always, he's the one that guided me, that loved me, that, you know. So when I got married to Terry, I didn't have any self-confidence.
Okay.
And really was nervous about everything.
Yeah.
And I think back to those days, I think I was a hypochondriac. I used to take a heck of a lot of pills. And my home was dysfunctional. I've got a young brother that has not got the same father as me.
Okay.
But we're in the same home. It's quite a thing. Huh?
Yeah.
My daughter said she'll write a book one day about my home life. And I believe even then that the Lord had his hand upon me, because when I'd known Terry a week, and he took me home to meet his mum and dad.
Okay.
And they just welcomed me.
Okay.
And the grandparents, and particularly your gran,
Yeah.
she just took me. And, you know, we used to go riding our bikes in the summer. We'd cycle down to her house, and, you know, she would give Terry half a crown, and she'd give me half a crown.
Ah, man.
Yeah, that, you know what that is, hey? Half a crown.
What is that?
It's, together it's 5 shillings, so it's 2.5 shillings.
Okay.
And she'd buy me a dress. She really, that's the ground. She really spoiled me. She really did to me what
Took you as her own.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. Yeah, and it was a pity because we'd only been married less than a year when she passed away. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. So that's the story. And I think because of the sheltered upbringing, you know,
so
when we
minister to prostitutes.
When we met, I had to be home at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I wasn't, then I'd be in trouble. And then we moved out of town, my parents and that, and we moved. And so then I asked if I could have another half an hour or an hour. So I had to be home by 10 o'clock. Mm. Yeah, and then it was further, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the summer we had our bikes, but in the winter we walked. We walked and walked and walked when we were courting. And then we'd end up at your house and we'd have a coffee, and then he'd walk me home. Mm. So it was, and I think that's really why the prostitutes was a big challenge.
Great challenge.
Mm. Yeah, because I didn't know anything about that. It was quite a thing.
I met her for 1 week.
Okay.
I said, "You're going to be my wife."
He said to me, "You're the girl I'm going to marry."
Just in one week.
1 week.
And I laughed at him. I said, "Oh."
Probably I also laugh. I'll be like, wow, whatever.
Yeah. But then we were together every night, weren't we?
Yeah, as
After
much as we
work.
could. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we went to the bioscope, we'd meet because we'd go and see the end of the bioscope before we saw the beginning because I had to be home so early.
See,
You put up with all that.
in the UK then, it was
Constant
like
playing.
twice.
Playing the same one
So
over.
we would get and see the end of
Okay.
the movie.
Okay.
But we had
Before it actually starts.
she had to go home, so we got the open.
So then we'd get up and go out when we caught up to where we'd been because I had to be home.
Yeah,
So I wasn't. So he put up with all of that. And then when he was doing night school, I used to go to his home.
Okay.
And we would play board games. There was no TV in those days. So his mum, his dad, and I used to play board games till he came back. The college was just at the top of the street. And so when he came back, then we'd just have coffee and then...
There's actually no need for questions. But before I can close this off, before I can wrap all of this up, I wanted to ask Uti, how is retirement? Like how long does it take for someone to be like, you know what, let me just retire? Because you've been in the ministry for like 80% of your life, and then now having to let go. And then how is that? Like how is that transition?
Speaking for myself, I was well ready to retire.
Is it?
But Terry wasn't.
no, I wasn't, but I knew. But the difficult time has been after retiring. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, everything fine, but then I missed
The preparation.
and it's not the same anymore. And there was something.
You struggled, didn't you?
Yes, I say for about 2 years on, and eventually it doesn't matter.
Well, then of course he had the stroke, so that was.
So it was like.
And I want to go right back.
Into ministry.
When I was a little boy, I believe now that the Lord already
Had his hand on you.
I was coming. Because there's at various times I would get very moved.
Emotional.
Yeah. And when you go to Jeremiah, chapter 1, he said, when you were in the womb, I knew.
Yeah.
And I don't have a spiritual background from my parents. I think my father used to be.
He was quite embarrassed.
But when I told them, I got into
Ministry.
no, at the cathedral.
I've gone forward, yes, at
Yeah.
Billy Graham's.
And I told them. They thought I was mad. And then they were very against me going into the ministry. And even now, well, he's dead now. But,
when he was out here.
And also, when we went to the UK, I had several opportunities to minister. And he would go.
Oh, wow.
But he didn't.
And this is how I would sit. The whole time I was speaking. Not just once.
Every time you ministered.
And then, when my mother died, I had met John
Shelbourne.
He was a pastor of Lincoln.
Okay.
And I met him, and my father, I think they had watched he'd gone witnessing to them. Anyway, when my mother was so sick, John told me that both my father and mother had accepted
The Lord.
Yes. But some years later, I mentioned my father. You gave your last life. He said, no.
No, I didn't.
No,
Your
I did
mother
not.
did, but I didn't.
And that was...
So he was a resistance
Mm.
to
No, he was right. He'd
accepting
rather go
Christ.
to the workman's
Club.
club
Okay.
and play dominoes.
Dominoes. Or
And,
crib. Yeah.
rather than go to the church.
Yeah.
And that where John had been there for 25 years, on the day he died.
Yeah. After he'd been in the church 25 years he died. That was the minister.
And he was a lovely man.
And
Yeah.
they had to leave one of the African countries in a hurry, hadn't they?
Yeah, yes, because they were in the Congo.
The Congo.
As here is
Ministry.
right, ministering.
Ministering. Okay.
Yeah, and they could hear
All the
gun
Sure.
fire, and he said to, "No, I'll be all right."
will be okay, we'll stick it out.
And
In
the
the
steamboat
end.
left.
Okay.
That's when his chance. And the captain sent a boat, small boat, to get the family.
So they wouldn't go and then they had to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was gunfight all going around.
They escaped with their life. That's all just their lives and the clothes they stood in.
And then I got to know him when we were over UK, and then he wanted me to go to a conference with him, but I said I can't because I've got to go back to South Africa.
Okay.
At the same time, he then, either just before or afterwards, asked me if I'd like to go to Shetland Island. So there's a bit of a mover, the whole hospital there. I said they want to minister. That is cold up there.
No, but it wasn't. The Lord wanted us here.
In PE.
And we were absolutely persuaded that this is where God
wants it.
All the walking around and moving around,
Yeah.
But God actually wanted you to.
He wanted to PE.
Mm. Because even John Bond and Darby Minham, they phoned and asked if we wouldn't move to Pretoria.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
And do the same in Pretoria as what we've done here. We said we can't leave these people now.
No.
We were so committed to these people.
And that time, I got the elders, and I gave them a little talk. And I
That
said,
was when we wiped.
well, there was a couple of Africans as well.
Yeah.
I said, you're out of the ministry, in the eldership.
Dissolving the eldership.
And I said that my final point was, it's not negotiable.
They accepted it.
What are some of the things that if someone is starting ministry today, what are some of the advices you can give?
I'm
A
sorry?
young person that is going to ministry now, what are some of the things that you can be like, I advise you not to do this, I advise you to do this? What advice?
Yeah, well, we could explain what we have found, but we don't want to talk about it.
No,
It's
we don't want to talk
negative,
about the bad
negative.
times.
Okay.
Yeah, look, in the ministry, whoever you are, I know Linda has sometimes.
Okay.
if you're in the ministry and you are called,
there's nothing else for you.
There's nothing for you. That's how I was.
When we tried to leave the ministry, as I said.
Yeah. That time, as in between Queenstown and
The Western area.
I had got 6 possibles of jobs.
Interviews.
3 at
Joburg.
And 3 in Durban. That was the first week. Everybody said,
take the job.
The second week, when you phoned to confirm.
On the Monday, everyone said, don't bother.
Don't bother. Don't come.
At the same time, we went to that bed at the shop.
Yeah.
And John Bond
Phoned.
and spoke to our son.
So every door closed to us.
And
because of ministry.
they said, I want you to go to
Western area.
Yeah. And they had waited 3 months.
Before he answered the letter. Before he made contact. Yeah. So we know.
It's from Numbers 27.
But when God's put his hand on you,
That's it.
you're not happy doing anything else.
That was me. I tried all sorts of things, even before I went to the ministry. But
nothing.
Well,
nothing satisfying.
You get a job, but it's not satisfying.
Yeah.
And it's because inside you're not right.
Yeah, it's true. There's only one way.
Yeah.
And for a young person, be open to the leading of the Holy Spirit.
Yes, very much so.
To have anointed ears to hear what the Lord says to you. And the advice that Mike Attlee gave to you was, go and wait on your ministry.
Yeah.
So don't visit, preach, don't visit, go wait on your ministry.
But we found that
we
it
had to
doesn't
visit
work
because
that way.
it was a white church and they expect you. But
Yeah,
you did do a lot of time waiting
Oh yeah.
on your ministry and
And
praying
when I
and
was
studying.
working in Oxford, we lived in Nigel.
Okay.
That's about 3/4 of an hour. I would go, speak in tongues,
All the way there.
and
All the way
almost
there.
all the way back in
He
tongues.
travelled alone, so he could.
And it says that if
When you
you
speak in tongues, you edify.
in yourself, and then ministering at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and when he was studying,
I've learned a lot from this.
when he was studying, he never missed one meeting in the church. Even though he was studying and he was writing exams and that, he never missed one meeting. There's an excuse to say, well, I've got to study. Never. You did very well, didn't you?
Wow.
It took him a while to get committed, because I was ahead of him at stages. But once you'd got committed, you never looked back.
Never look back. Sure. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I think I've learned a lot. I honestly think I've learned a lot. When you're talking, it's actually now daunting into my spirit the reason why I'm here. But I think the information was great. Honestly, it was. I truly appreciate.
Oh, you're
I truly
very
appreciate
welcome, really. And it's lovely to see you. I'd forgotten your name when Linda said it, but as soon as I saw your face.
You remember the face.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
And we haven't seen Celia for a while.
for some time. I actually brought your daughter back.
Yes, that we could see in our fellowship.
Practicing.
Yeah.
Well, I send that.
Yeah, you do send her.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the reason being,
Because we haven't seen her.
because we haven't initiated.
So there's still that contact.
Oh, okay.
No, I just send it saying, what I'm really saying to her is, I think you should be back here. But don't say it. It's Bob Gass.
Okay.
He's dead. He's got a brilliant teaching ministry. And they put every morning, it's from Australia, and I copy it,
Okay.
send it all various emails. I'm sending to her
Working?
so that she reminds them.
I'm grateful. I'm honestly grateful. Mama, I get before I close this, what is the key to successful marriage? You've been married for 68 years. What's the key?
Well, as I say, when we were first married, I had a lot of hang-ups and that, from my childhood. So, but once I came to the Lord, it was like a change overnight.
Okay.
For example, if Terry would say, I need you to go to the bank.
Okay.
So he'd have to fill in the bank form beforehand.
I'm sure
And he'd have to tell me which queue to stand in or which queue to go. I liked confidence.
Okay.
But once I'd given my heart to the Lord, it was like chalk and cheese, complete change. But I've always been able to be myself. Always been able to be myself. He's allowed me to express myself. And he's never sort of, apart from telling me he's going to take me into the... After that all got sorted out. So I've been all through the time, I've been able to be myself, express myself. If I don't agree,
you say
I don't agree. And if, so that is just being yourself, being allowed to voice an opinion.
Thank you.
And making decisions together, not just, and if it's a big decision in whatever you pray about it, talk about it, but in the end, he makes the decision.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
I truly appreciate. I think I've learned a lot. I'm actually wowed as you speak. I'm like,
wow. The Lord has been good because Stephen, he went to be with the Lord, as I told you, and he had made a will. He'd been called up to do a camp, an army camp, and he made a will there. And so then he said to me, I'm going to take out an insurance. He said, who shall I make it payable to? Well, you don't think anything. You don't think your son's going to die. I said, me.
Man.
Went like that. So he made it up. But in the troopy will that he made, he also made me everything to me. He left everything to me.
Man.
Yeah. But the scripture that says, you must be wise when you go into the house of the Lord. Terry and I were just talking one day, said, when we retire, we want to have a house that's fully paid for.
Man.
When Stephen went to be with the Lord,
Man.
got the money,
Got the house.
and I said to the Lord, I didn't mean it like this.
Man.
I didn't mean it like this. But
The Lord.
so I learned a lesson there. And another lesson I learned was the day that we couldn't find him. And I was making the bed. And it the story or the account came to my mind that when Rebecca, was it, who had the twins?
Yes.
King James says there's a violent commotion going on. But she went and inquired of the Lord.
What was this?
And the Lord told her,
It's 2 nations.
there's 2 nations warring. And I didn't, even though the Lord had said to me that night, when we were looking for him, so near and yet so far. And it only worked out afterwards that he was in Newcastle, mortuary. We had gone there for the Christmas. He was supposed to join us. So the nearness was that he was there in the mortuary, but the farness was that he'd gone to the Lord. So when you don't understand, inquire of the Lord. That's a big lesson I learned.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks so
So
much.
it's lovely seeing you, lovely having you.
I'm really excited. I do not want to lie. Yeah. This was more, thank you, Mama. This was more than I thought. Like, honestly.
Well, we were unsure what it was going to be.
Is it? I actually enjoyed it.